Hi, good afternoon. How are you?
Good, thank you. I'm early.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. I saw somebody had joined, so I thought, well, I'll come on now then, just say hi. And then um, I don't know how many people will come on, but we'll see. And then I'll start at 1:45. Have you already got Mighty Writer?
We do indeed. Yes, it's just rolled up.
Oh, how are you getting on?
Yeah, good, thank you. I'm in reception, so we use it for a lot of oracy for our children, especially in the autumn term.
Yeah.
Trying to just basic sentence building, to be honest with you, because a lot of ours struggle with someone's coming in thinking I'm talking to myself. A lot of them struggle with word order, obviously speech and language pronunciation, so we can use it for almost as simple as a dog, so almost labeling, and then being able to extend it in an oracy way, which has been great actually, because I've got children that can put an adjective into a sentence, and children that can use and orally within a sentence, so we can extend it that way.
Brilliant.
But we're not obviously bringing it into the writing side yet, so excuse me.
Great. Yeah, that's really good. I mean, because today, so each workshop, I don't think you were on the last one. This is only our second one, and they're running once a month. And it's just for people that have got Mighty Writer, or even if they haven't, it's just kind of a chance for everyone to get together. I'll have a particular theme, and then I just do a bit of a talk, and then people can share ideas. You know, and so there might be other people that are in reception using it that, you know, you might be able to, so feel free if you've got anything to say, or, you know, if you've got other questions about how you can kind of extend the use of it. But today, obviously, the focus is, like you're saying, building sentences from scratch.
I'm close. I'll just go and close some doors.
Fine, that's fine.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for joining.
That's okay. I've got a colleague with me as well.
Fine. How are you getting on with Mighty Writer?
I might end up having another couple of colleagues. We'll see.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. How are we getting on with Mighty Writer? Okay, but we do a mixture of things here.
Okay.
So we do obviously, if this is for reception, we do a lot of gross motor skills and fine motor skills, etc., and our kinetic letters handwriting to start with before we really use the Mighty Writer board at all.
Fine. Okay.
So we'll start to use the Mighty Writer board again, and probably in the spring term, because we're in the middle of doing all of our gross motor skills, etc. first.
Okay.
From year one's point of view, we also do Grammosaurus.
Yeah.
So they have been doing they spend the first half term doing handwriting, kinetic letters, gross motor skills, etc. Then at the moment they're starting their Grammosaurus. They do their place value of Grammosaurus, and then they will then also move on to using the Mighty Writer board in the spring term.
Okay.
So we're kind of halfway through, really. We did use it a bit last year, and we only had them last year. So we used them in the spring term, I think, wasn't it, really, more so than anything. And then come the summer term, we decided that actually their handwriting wasn't where it needed to be. So we kind of like took a step back and went into Grammosaurus and handwriting. And so this year will be the first year that we do all three things, really. So a bit of Grammosaurus and handwriting in the first term, then some Grammosaurus place value, and then moving on to, obviously, our Mighty Writer board, which we hope we will be able to fit in the Grammosaurus work within the Mighty Writer board.
Yeah. And hopefully you'll see, like, hopefully today as well, it will give you some ideas of how to include, you know, like really build on that understanding of grammar, you know, supporting what you already do, but using the Mighty Writer to really visualize it.
Yeah, definitely. That's our hope, really. Because the Mighty Writer board is so new to us. We really need some ideas and tips, really, on how we're using that. So we just thought we'd join the webinar today.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. And also all the training is included with Mighty Writer. So if your school specifically wanted some training just for you, then you can just go on the website and you can see, you can book your own. You don't even have to email, you can just book a session on.
Oh, fab.
So yeah, and you know, you might say, okay, then we're going to dedicate a staff meeting to that, so I could do like 45 minutes. Or you might say individual year groups want to have like a half-hour sort of input. so that you feel like you can meet everybody's needs. So feel free to do that if you want to.
Does that come at any cost, or is
no, it's all included if you've got the Mighty Writer mats? Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great. Lovely.
Yeah, because that might help you to support all your sort of staff and everything, combining everything so it works.
Yeah, that does sound good, because at the moment it feels a little bit disjointed.
Yeah, okay.
Nobody's thought. We just we're aware that we need to make sure that the gross and the fine motor skills are in place for our youngest children, and that their handwriting is where it needs to be. Equally, we value some of the work that the Grammasaurus are giving us, but we do also want to be doing the language and the talking stories that the Mighty Writer will give us. So I think, with all three combined, it will be a good program for children. We've just got to kind of make sure that we're gelling all those bits together.
Well, hopefully today will help a little bit towards it, but please feel free to book some specific training for your school, because then you can ask the right questions for you.
That's great. Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
That's all right. Thanks, Sharon.
Thank you.
Hi, Hayley.
Sorry.
Can you hear joining? Yeah, that's fine. It's just because people are coming on early, which is great. Then I just thought I'd take the chance to say hi and see how you're getting on. You've got Mighty Writer, haven't you?
So no, I'm moving to a school which does Mighty Writer, so I've had no training. So I've just come on to get a bit of an insight.
Okay,
and I'm interested as well in it.
Okay, fine. So this is just going to take a small things like building sentences from scratch as an example, but I was just saying to Sharon, with Mighty Writer all the training is included, so it's designed so that you're not going to have to change your current practice. So if you've got things in your school that work and they work well, why change? But basically Mighty Writer will complement and work alongside those things, and you've kind of got everything in one place with it. But the training's included, so I do lots of sort of whole school staff meetings, I do work with individual year groups. Even if an individual teacher wants to book on the website just for a 10-minute chat, or they've got some questions, then that's all fine. So it sort of tries to be quite relaxed and helps people feel supported, and because it is straightforward to use. That's the idea.
Great, thank you.
So thank you. So I'll just give it a minute, and then I'll make a start, just in case there's some people joining at the last minute. Right, okay then. I'll make a start, and people might carry on joining if they want to. So today, so obviously I'm Emma. I'm here just to sort of, each month we're doing a different workshop. We started this last month, and we thought it'd be quite a good idea to sort of an opportunity to sort of bring people together just in quite an informal context. So some people have Mighty Writer, some people might be thinking about it. Everyone's got sort of different experiences, different settings they're working in, and it's quite a nice way for to have sort of a talk about certain things, and then maybe sort of an informal chat, sharing good practice, asking any questions. And these are running once a month, or you might find that as a result of this, yes, we would like more specific training for our school, we haven't had enough, or we want some from scratch. So last month the focus was building children's imagination, and the focus today is building sentences from scratch. So I've just made some notes about this, but I do feel very passionate about it, that children need to own their ideas, and they need to be invested in what they're saying and what they're writing, so that they therefore naturally enjoy and want to do all the things we need them to do to be independent writers. So they need to be able to think of what they want to say, and they need to be able to organise their ideas. They need to be able to connect those ideas together, and they need to know that they have an imagination, that they have something to say, and they have that within them. And of course, they need to be able to express their ideas, their thoughts, and their feelings, and we need to make that happen for them. why do they need to be able to do this? Because they need to be able to think of what they want to say, and they need to be able to organise it effectively and increasingly efficiently. They need to be able to recall it accurately, and they need to write it down correctly to form sentences. So once they can do this, they can apply it in any context, for any genre, for any style of writing, in increasingly sophisticated ways. So more and more, sort of from my experience, as I'm speaking to teachers, it's clearer and clearer that children struggle to have ownership over their ideas, and they struggle to know what they want to say and to organise those ideas without a considerable amount of support. And obviously that is increasingly obvious as they go, you know, further through the school. So as they move into Key Stage 2, they are not exhibiting the behaviours of an independent writer. They are limited in what they can achieve because they haven't grasped the foundations of what it actually means to be a writer. So I feel that the key is having a strategic overview. So looking right ahead to Year 6 and where do we need these children to be, and helping children to do all of these things from a very young age in the writing behaviours which we are modelling and encouraging. So using pictures and symbols, which is obviously what we use with Mighty Writer, that helps children to connect ideas. And so that they can increasingly see that there is no limit to their imagination and the way that ideas and words can be connected and organised. So with Mighty Writer, the idea is that when you first start using this, you are literally just starting with the pictures. You're taking off all the other toolbars around the edge, and you're connecting pictures together, so children might choose it. So even children who are non-verbal, they might just select a picture or point to a picture, and I might make observations about it, modelling vocabulary. It might move to choosing 2 pictures, and I model connecting those 2 pictures together, or maybe just a limit of 3 pictures, so that children realise that their imagination knows no bounds, that we can connect ideas in hundreds and hundreds of different ways, and, you know, with an increasing vocabulary. So it's modelling that out loud thinking, that open-ended questioning. So even if we make something make sense, so, you know, once there was a boy who walked in a wood, what would happen if I swapped those 2 pictures round? What could that sentence say then? So even for children who are non-verbal, or children who are just starting to speak in sentences or connect simple ideas together, I am right from the start giving them an opportunity to hear words in a different order, because long term that is extremely helpful to them in terms of the way English works, and hearing the, you know, the subtle differences in the way the sentences sound and their meaning. So even if a child is non-verbal and not saying anything, and they're not actively participating, it doesn't matter. They are hearing, they are visualizing the behaviors of a writer, and they are seeing me modeling that, you know, with confidence. Even if I swapped 2 pictures round and I couldn't think of a way to connect them, then we might choose another picture. So it's never about making a mistake. It's about thinking, well, what makes sense? How could that sound? So it's just giving children the benefit of your experience and seeing that happen in practice. So helping them to realise that changing my mind does not mean I've made a mistake. So if they are being exposed to this day in, day out, they eventually start to adopt those behaviours for themselves, and those behaviours become second nature. So it's really about keeping it extremely simple, but all the time thinking ahead as to where I need them to be, like in the long term. So I'm therefore very clever about my choice of vocabulary very early on. So if I was in reception autumn term and I am making up a very simple sentence, so a boy went for a walk in a wood where he met a friendly dinosaur. If I was making up a sentence like that, I might then say, at that very moment, the boy met a friendly dinosaur. So I'm not just going to limit myself to, you know, time connectives. I'm going to be using language that they're hearing in stories anyway. They're hearing them in books, but I am making it very explicit on here, very visual, but extremely simple. So if children in nursery even and reception are seeing that on a daily basis, they're not expected, you know, they're passive in that in terms of, you know, it's not an actual literacy activity. They're literally watching me make up a very simple sentence, and that might just be 1 minute, it might take 30 seconds, but they are just seeing it again and again. It can have a massive impact on what they are capable of doing and their understanding of how, you know, language works. So we can embed a large amount of grammatical knowledge and understanding of sentence content and structure in the way we model the construction of sentences with pictures and symbols, which make dealing with ever increasingly sophisticated sentences over time a very natural and easy to understand process, because it's so visual. So children can see, oh, I can just add in an adjective. So, you know, they're naturally able to see how a sentence starts, you know, just from a noun to a noun phrase to an expanded noun phrase, etc. And it's just building that up and going over and over and over it, you know, with different subjects, etc. So like long term, we want children to naturally edit sentences as a matter of course, because they are invested in the writing and they know how to improve it. They know why they need to improve it, and they know that it can be improved. And mainly, you know, that they actually enjoy this, because so many teachers I speak to, you know, they're getting into year 3, year 4, and it's a case of, oh, trying to get them to edit their work, you know, once they've done it is very difficult. And I feel a lot of the time it's because, you know, children don't feel invested in it. And for them, it's hard work. You know, it's taken a lot of thought for them to think of that sentence. And now it's like, and now I've got to go back. Why would I change it? I don't understand how to change it. And there's so many different things that they could change. So it becomes quite complicated. So from my point of view, you know, as a teacher, etc., I don't want to be saying to children, can you go back and add in an adjective? You know, my goal is that I want them to be noticing that for themselves. And I want them to be saying, I could go back and add an adjective. That's how I want to improve it. So with more and more exposure to sentence content and structure, they become increasingly adept at doing this. So using Mighty Writer as the sort of example, you know, how am I going to go about this? Well, children need to be able to recall and say the whole sentence in their head, you know, in order that they write it down. If they can't do that, you know, the sentence is too long. So we need to build their memory. So, you know, initially I'm looking at maybe for some children, it might literally be starting, like I said, with just one picture, and we're making observations about it. We, you know, we're talking about that picture, building that vocabulary. And then it might be a case of connecting 2 pictures together. What could that sentence say? And if children can't think of a way to connect them, it doesn't matter. I can think of a way to connect them. And if nobody can, it doesn't matter. Let's change one of those pictures. So all the time they're realizing that we can play around with language. And once we've thought of a way to connect those pictures in a simple sentence, can we say it out loud? And can we remember that sentence? You know, right from very simple beginnings. And then we're modeling scribing it. So children are always given the opportunity to see the whole process through from beginning to end. The gathering of the ideas, the sequencing, the saying it out loud, the checking for sense, to that final written sentence. And I'm not just talking about doing that in like a set literacy time. You know, that can be in the 2 or 3 minutes at lunchtime when everyone's in and out washing their hands. It can be at the end of the day instead of telling a story. You know, it can be first thing in the morning, quickly after I've done registration, because it's just drip feeding those key things, so that children understand that whatever I'm choosing, I can use different vocabulary, that my subject can be different. So, you know, it's just giving them that opportunity to hear it. So like I said, you start off small, no more than 2 to 3 pictures, possibly even 1 picture. And these sentences can be in relation to any topic. So it can be the topic you've got in your classroom. It can be linked to the text you're doing. But at the end of the day, once children understand how to build sentences, they can apply it across the board. So in that respect, the subject is irrelevant, because it's, do they know what they want to say, and can they picture it in their head, and can they, gradually improve it? So the focus is putting words in the correct order and thinking about the meaning and the effect of the order of the words. So, right from the start, I'm aware that I want to teach children to listen for sense, for meaning, and for the subtle differences that little tweaks to the order can make to the impact of a sentence. So, by adding in the symbols, so we've got the verbs, we've got the adverbs, we've got the adjectives, over time, you are making those sentences increasingly sophisticated, and they're seeing it in the visual form with the pictures, the symbols, and they're then seeing it written down. And then from just the pictures, you're moving on to the sentence maps. So, they're really getting an idea of how to formally structure that sentence with the capital letter, the punctuation at the end. And you're extending it. So with Mighty Writer, you can model, questions, commands, statements, and going through everything really, really clearly. So, you might be modeling just because or so, and we're thinking about how does that impact on the sentence, and we're taking everything, from reception all the way through to year 2. We want all the children by the end of year 2 to be confident using everything on here in their sentence construction. So I've got the time to do everything in isolation, so they really get what is an adjective, what is a verb, what is an adverb, how do I use the conjunction because, how does that impact a sentence? So they're seeing it in isolation, and then in the context of a sentence, and then, in the context of a short story or a paragraph or whatever it is. So I sort of feel that the question has to be, whatever our focus is, whatever our objective is, and, at the end of the day, can they do it by themselves? So, whatever I'm teaching them, when they go away, can they do it for themselves? And if the answer is no, then the question has to be, why not? What is stopping them from doing that independently, and what needs to be addressed so that they can? Where are those gaps, and what are they? So we need to focus on helping children visualize that word order and the implications of that word order on the meaning and the effect of that sentence. And, when you look at the national curriculum, even though it's quite, it's stipulated this is what you need to do, it actually does say that it's not to take away from teachers' imagination and creativity. And I think that's really important, because, it is possible to do all of those things in a way that it just all sort of joins together. So very quickly, yeah, I can see how I can add an adjective, and children are naturally including those elements of grammar, but it just comes so naturally because it's so visual for them. So, the more we model visually and verbally, so when I say verbally, I mean, at the end of the day, taking 5 minutes to maybe make up my own sentence or connect 2 or 3 pictures together. And when I do that, I'm thinking out loud. I'm saying, actually, what would happen if I swapped those 2 pictures around? What does my sentence say now? No, that doesn't sound as good. I'm going to swap it back. Or actually, no, I'm going to choose a different picture. That sounds better. So constantly, I'm modelling the conversation out loud that I want children to start having in their heads about their own sentences, and about how the purpose for which they write. So if I'm modeling that consistently, the greater chance all children have of taking these skills and attitudes on board. So I think the key is, being creative not just with what you're modeling, but also with your time. So where you've got a packed day, it might just be, right, lunchtime, like I said, everyone's in and out washing hands. It doesn't matter if not every child sees all of this, because I'm going to do this daily. I'm just going to put one plain sentence in the middle of the mat. Somebody's going to choose a sentence starter. two people are going to choose a picture each. Someone's going to choose a full stop. What does that sentence say? How could we improve it? Somebody's going to add an adjective. What does that say now? So they are seeing a sentence built from scratch on a daily basis, understanding how to edit it, how to go back. Does it make sense? Would it sound better like this? And, you know, that just becomes increasingly sophisticated over time. And like I say, modeling a sentence at the end of the day as well. So they can just be passive, you know, they're tired, but you can consolidate what you have taught in literacy by what you are modeling, whether that's a short story, whether that's just, you know, a single sentence, whether that's just putting 2 or 3 pictures together. But I can, you know, I can model that really effectively. And I think it's about constantly drip feeding the approach to writing, which will help children succeed as independent writers. And none of what I've said is in any way to say that nobody else understands that. It's just that, you know, that is how Mighty Writer, that's the sort of foundation that Mighty Writer is built upon. And so it's nothing different to what everybody is already doing or trying to achieve. It's just with this, you've got it there. And so whatever you're already doing, you can use Mighty Writer to support that and visualize those things. So that's kind of, you know, an overview of what the focus is. And it might be quite good to have a, you know, a conversation. If people are happy to have their cameras on, or, you know, to turn on their microphones, then it's quite helpful just to have a conversation about what your sort of view is, if you're using Mighty Writer, how you're getting on with it, or to ask any questions.
Hello.
So, hi.
So this is Sarah and Amy from Sheepy School.
Hi.
And we have recently acquired Mighty Writer at the start of the year, actually, but we weren't able to get it into action until very recently.
Okay.
Amy has hers up on her wall, and it's accessible for the children. Mine currently is not up on the wall, so I've had it on the floor.
Fine.
I've only had it a few times, but they absolutely loved it.
Right.
And every child felt like they achieved, because every child could build a sentence.
Yeah.
Even though some of them were kind of going, oh, I don't know if this is going to be right. I don't know if it's going to be right. It's going to be right. It's going to be right, because it's whatever your idea is. Yeah. So we really loved it, but we definitely haven't got it in full flow yet, have we?
No.
But yeah, we're looking forward to using it more.
Right.
And yeah.
Oh, that's really good. And that is a key thing to say, that children, they can't go wrong using this. So, you know, even if they didn't say anything, even if they just literally picked up 2 pictures and put them together, you can model putting those into a sentence or connecting those ideas in some way. And also, they don't have to, if this mat is completely plain with nothing on it and you've given them free rein on the pictures, it doesn't matter where they put their pictures on the mat. You know, they're not having to go from left and right, because a lot of the time, you know, children need that chance just to realise that they can connect ideas, that I've got something to say, that I have created a sentence or a story. And then you build it up, starting to include the arrows, etc. So
I have quite an able reception group, and they were really keen to use the adjectives and the verbs. And when I kind of explained what they were like, can I put one of these? Can I put these? And would that be like, if he was swimming, would that be one of the, like, he's doing it, isn't he? If he's swimming, yes, that would be a verb. Well done.
Yeah, brilliant.
So they flew with it. Yeah.
That is brilliant. And also in reception, so even in the autumn term, I would recommend introducing verbs and adverbs. So already, obviously, your most able one is, but I would do it not specifically in the like literacy time, but if at the end of the day I had 5 minutes, I would be making up a short sentence with maybe 3 pictures, but in that I would be including the verb and adverb. So the dinosaur roared loudly. So I would tell them what, because then they're seeing that vocabulary, they're hearing it in stories anyway, they're then seeing that vocabulary in context in a very visual way, and it's only a matter of time, isn't it, before they start using that language for themselves.
Absolutely, yeah.
And even for your lowest ability children, even if in the whole of reception they don't actually start using that vocabulary, the fact is that somewhere in their head they have an understanding because they've seen it so much.
Yeah, and they're hearing it, aren't they?
And they're hearing it. Yeah. And I think that whatever you want to introduce, it's really useful to do it in a relaxed way at the end of the day when it's you, because then when you come to formally introduce it, we all know what that is. Yeah, I've got loads of ideas.
Yeah.
So you can really push your children on, like right from reception, you know. And in my storytelling, you know, like I said in reception, I'm going to use a fronted adverbial at the beginning of that sentence, because I'm giving my children, all the children, the chance to start doing that for themselves.
Yeah.
But like you say, it's embedding it. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, can I ask what the cost is and what's included, please?
Okay, right. All the training is included, and that's free for life, and it's as much as you want.
Right.
And on the website, there's loads of other information. The idea is you do not have to plan for Mighty Writer, that your current planning, your objectives, the national curriculum and everything, it's naturally fulfilling all those things. So it shouldn't be any extra work. The mats, you can either pay for them outright or you can pay monthly. And the pay monthly isn't a rental, it's yours, you're just spreading the cost of it.
Right.
There's lots of additional color-coded toolbars. So with the Mighty Writer set, you get those 2 toolbars at the top, but there's also lots of other ones that are, I don't know if you can see that, lots of other ones that are related to topics, and they're color-coded. So you've got like seaside journeys around the world, mini beasts. This yellow one you get 2 of, and that's real life. So that's all your non-fiction. Fantastic for reception key stage 1, because it's all about what they want to talk about, school trips, what they've done at the weekend, etc. And you can mix and match them. The more you buy, the greater the discount. So buying outright, I mean, all the information's on the website, but one set is £549. 3 or more, each one would be 522. 6 or more, each one would be 508, and so it goes on. With the pay monthly, one set would be £29.95. 3 or more sets, each one would be £27.95. 6 or more sets, each one would be £25.95. But with the pay monthly, you get 4 free toolbars with each set, and you can choose those toolbars. And you get them the first year and when with your order, and then again the next year, and you can choose which ones they are.
Right, thank you.
Somebody's asked a question. One of the biggest challenges is storing and setting the Mighty Writers up, so it's quite hard to do examples at the end of the day. Okay, so I think if it's a real challenge to hang it on the wall, I mean, there are obviously benefits to hanging it on the wall, because it's not just in your literacy time. Children have just got it there, you know, in front of them. So if you have built a sentence for the beginning of your story one day, you know, it might be that they're looking at that thinking, well, what could our middle sentence be, you know, and they're thinking of ideas, or they've just got it to refer to. So that obviously is quite powerful. But if there's absolutely nowhere to hang it, then I think having it on the floor, I mean, I've taught a class of 30 year 2s all sat round this, and I also think there are benefits to it being on the floor, because you do want children to be able to lie across it, move ideas around, and everybody's kind of at the same level. And I would definitely be taking it off the wall anyway to use in small group time, so that, you know, I might have, because you've got the mini Mighty Writers on the website, and there's lots and lots of different ones, and the idea is they're enlarged to A3. So that you can use those for children to work together in pairs, planning their sentences, using the symbols, using pictures, so that is their plan. They're working together. Can we go back, challenging each other, you know, consolidating and practicing everything they've done on a practical level. So some children might be planning their own sentences on there. Some might be sat with you around the carpet and you're looking at a specific focus. You know, we want them to be using or as a conjunction, etc. So yeah, I mean, examples at the end of the day, if you've got the carpet space, I would sit them around it, so that at least you're using it. I hope that kind of answers the question. Does anybody have any other questions? Thanks, Olivia. Well, if anybody wants any more training, you know, you're sitting here thinking, actually, we've got Mighty Writer, but we haven't, you know, have much training, or we've got more questions, then you can go on the website and you can just book something specifically either for you, you know, or for your school. And there'll be another workshop in a month's time. So the information will go out about that, the subject, etc. But in the meantime, you know, if you have more questions or you want to get in touch, then please don't hesitate. So if people haven't got any more questions, then I hope that was, you know, I hope that was helpful. And it's given you things to think about anyway.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Emma.
Thank you.
Thanks ever so much for joining.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.